I'm 6 minutes into folding laundry when the verdict arrives. My phone buzzes on the dryer, vibrating against the warm metal. A single text from my father, Eric. 10 words. Just enough to fit on the lock screen without scrolling. Asterisk, we need space. Don't come over until you apologize. Asterisk. I stare at it. The letters are crisp, digital, final. Apologize. For what? For asking them to lower the thermostat in the carriage house I pay to heat. For suggesting my sister Bella might chip in $20 for groceries. Before I can even process the audacity, a second notification pops up. Bella has reacted to the message with a laughing emoji. That little yellow face is the punctuation mark on a sentence I didn't know they were writing. I stand there holding a half-folded shirt. My chest doesn't tighten. My eyes don't sting. Instead, a strange, cold clarity washes over me. Feels like a fever breaking. I unlock my phone but not to reply. I open my banking app. My thumb hovers over the scheduled transfers list. There it is, the recurring payment labeled family support. $3,200, set to deploy tomorrow morning. Mortgage, utilities, insurance, and the $650 disguised as studio rent for Bella's life coaching business. Tap cancel. A confirmation box appears. Are you sure you want to cancel this recurring payment? Tap yes. Deleted. Just like that, the financial backbone of their lifestyle vanishes into the digital ether. I set the phone down on the dryer. The screen goes black. And for the first time in years, the silence in the room doesn't feel heavy. It feels like the quiet before a very necessary storm. The silence in the family group chat lasts exactly 14 hours. That's how long it takes for the bank notification to hit my father's inbox. I spend those hours in a state of eerie calm. Go to work. I compile data spreadsheets. But in the back of my mind, I'm replaying the last 5 years like a documentary I've finally seen the ending to. I think about the organic groceries my mother, Danielle, insisted were essential for her health, the ones I bought while eating ramen at my cubicle. I think about the heating bill for the carriage house that cost more than my car payment. Why did I do it? Why did I pay $3,200 a month for a family that treated me like a nuisance? It wasn't because I was weak. It was because the cruelty was normalized. It's the boiling frog effect. If you drop a frog in boiling water, it jumps out. But if you put it in tepid water and turn up the heat 1 degree at a time, it boils to death without ever realizing it's in danger. My parents didn't start by demanding $3,000. It started with, "Charlotte, can you grab some milk?" Then it was, "Charlotte, cover the electric bill just this once." The temperature rose so slowly that by the time I was funding their entire existence, I thought it was just the cost of being a good daughter. I thought financial utility was the same thing as love. I was wrong. At 8:10 a.m. my father texts. Asterisk, is there a glitch with the bank? The transfer didn't clear. Asterisk. I stare at the message, sipping my coffee. They're not asking if I'm okay. They're worried about the utility. The faucet has stopped running and they're banging on the pipes. At 8:15 the tone shifts. The confusion evaporates, replaced by entitlement. Bella sends a voice note. "Charlotte, seriously. I have a launch today. I need that rent money in the account so I can pay for ads. You're sabotaging my career." My mother posts a status update on Facebook. Asterisk, it's heartbreaking when you raise children to be generous, and they grow up to forget where they came from. Ungrateful hearts are the heaviest burden. Asterisk. Ungrateful. The word sits in my mouth like ash. I paid for the roof over their heads. I paid for the food in their fridge. And yet, I'm the ungrateful one because I stopped. I realized then that I was never a daughter to them. I was an appliance. A refrigerator doesn't get thanked for keeping the food cold. It only gets kicked when it stops working. I turn off my phone notifications. I have a meeting at 10. And for the first time, I'm not distracted by their drama. I'm focused. 'Cause I know the ledger is closed. And I know that the bill they're racking up right now isn't financial. It's moral. And payment is due. Grandpa Arthur's kitchen smells like old paper and Earl Grey tea. It's the only place in the world where my shoulders naturally drop an inch. I sit at the small oak table, my hands wrapped around a warm mug, waiting for the lecture. I expect him to tell me to be the bigger person. Instead, he slides a manila folder across the table. "Open it," he says. His voice is gravelly, but his eyes are sharp. I open the folder. The first document is yellowed with age. A property deed. I scan the legal jargon, looking for the names I expect to see, Eric and Danielle. But they're not there. The owner of record for 204 Heritage Lane is William Arthur Pierce. I look up confused. "Grandpa, this is the deed to the house. Why is your name on it?" "Because it's my house," he says simply. "Your parents have never owned it. Not for a single day." The room tilts. "But they said. They told me they bought it from you 15 years ago." "There is no mortgage," he says. "I paid it off in 1998. They asked to move in when your father's first business failed. Just for 6 months, until they got back on their feet." 6 months. 15 years ago. "They've been living there rent-free." I whisper. "Rent-free. Tax-free. Utility-free apparently, since you've been covering that." He takes a sip of his tea. "I let it slide because I didn't want to disrupt your life. But when you told me about the demands, I realized I wasn't helping them. I was enabling parasites." He reaches into the folder again and pulls out a single sheet of paper. At the top, in bold letters, "Notice to quit." "This is an eviction notice," he says. 30 days. No negotiation. I stare at the paper. My father, the man who walks around that estate like a lord, is a squatter. He has no equity. He has nothing but the roof my grandfather provided and the lifestyle I funded. "Grandpa, if you send this, they'll destroy you. They'll say you're senile." "Let them," he says, and I see the steel beneath the cardigan. "I'm 82 years old. I can survive your father's temper tantrum. The question is, are you ready?" "Ready for what?" "To stop being the daughter," he says, "and start being the witness." He picks up a pen and signs the bottom of the notice. The scratch of ink on paper sounds loud. Sounds like a gavel coming down. The notification arrives at 10:14 a.m. on Tuesday. Text from my mother. Hysterical. Charlotte. You need to come over right now. Grandpa has lost his mind. He sent us some legal paper saying we have to leave. He's evicting us. You have to fix this. Fix this. The mantra of my life. Charlotte, fix the budget. Charlotte, fix the Wi-Fi. Charlotte, fix the reality that we're living a lie. I sit at my desk staring at the message. My instinct, honed over 28 years, is to jump, to rush over, to mediate, to make the problem go away. It's a physical pull like gravity. But then I look down at my wrist. I'm not wearing a watch, but I can feel the weight of something else there. An invisible chain. A heavy, rusted link for every check I wrote, every insult I swallowed. $3,200 a month. That was the cost of the chain. That was the price of admission to a family that didn't even want me in the audience. My phone buzzes again. A voice note from Bella. "Charlotte, are you seeing this? Grandpa is literally kicking us out. I can't move. My studio is here. You need to talk to him. Tell him we'll sue." Her voice is shrill and utterly self-absorbed. Not a word about Grandpa's health. Just her studio. Her brand. I realize then that the chain wasn't holding me to them. It was holding me down, keeping me underwater so they could use my shoulders as a raft. I type a reply to my mother. My fingers are steady. Grandpa isn't confused. He owns the house. If he wants you to leave, you have to leave. Can't fix this. I hit send. Chain snaps. It doesn't make a sound, but I feel it. The sudden lightness in my chest, the rush of air into my lungs. My phone starts ringing. Eric. Then Danielle. Then Bella. The screen lights up again and again. A frantic strobe light of desperation. I don't answer. I turn the phone over, face down on my desk. The numbers on my spreadsheet are clean, logical, fair. Unlike my family, they don't lie. While my family spirals into a digital meltdown, a different kind of notification pings on my phone. A direct message on Instagram from Mark, a guy I went to high school with. "Hey Charlotte, weird question," the message reads. "Is your family running a B&B? I swear I stayed in your carriage house last weekend." Place was called the Heritage Wellness Retreat. Super nice, but the host, Danielle, was kind of intense about quiet hours. I stare at the screen. My thumb hovers over the words. The Heritage Wellness Retreat. I open a new tab and search for it. The listing pops up immediately on a boutique travel site. 5 stars. Historic Victorian estate with private carriage house sanctuary. The price is $500 a night, 2-night minimum. I scroll through the photos. There's the carriage house I paid to heat. There's the garden I paid to landscape. The reviews go back 2 years. 2 years. They've been running a business on property they don't own, using utilities I pay for, and pocketing every single dime. $500 a night. If they booked even 2 weekends a month, that's $2,000. Pure profit. Tax-free, rent-free, guilt-free. While I was eating ramen, they were running a hospitality empire in my backyard. Don't scream. I take screenshots. Every review, every photo, every booking calendar date. I compile it all into a PDF file titled Evidence. Then I get in my car. I tell myself I'm going to the house to get the guest book, the physical proof Grandpa asked for. But deep down, I know I'm looking for the bottom. I park down the street and let myself in through the side door using my key. The house is quiet. I walk past the high-end espresso machine I bought for Christmas and head straight for the library. Grandpa's library. It was his pride and joy. A room lined with floor-to-ceiling shelves filled with first editions and leather-bound classics. I open the double doors. First glance, it looks the same. The shelves are full. But something feels wrong. The air lacks the rich, vanilla scent of old paper. I walk to the nearest shelf and pull down a copy of Great Expectations, a rare edition Grandpa adored. It's light. Too light. Open it. There are no pages. It's a hollow, decorative box designed to look like a book. I pull down another. The Great Gatsby hollow. Moby Dick hollow. I start pulling them down frantically. Vic. Every single book on the eye-level shelves is a cheap cardboard prop. I find a crumpled receipt in the trash. Antique Book Buyers of Charleston. 18 months old. $42,000. Bella's signature at the bottom. They didn't just steal my money. They sold his history. They gutted Grandpa's library. His and Grandma's life in paper and ink, to fund Bella's aesthetic. I stand in the hollow room surrounded by fake books and real crimes, while my mother texts, "We're victims here, Charlotte." I take a photo of the fake book. I don't send it. I drive to Grandpa's condo and place the hollow book on his table. "They sold them," I say. Bella signed the receipt. He strokes the spine like it's a wound. "I read this to your grandmother when she was sick," he whispers. Then his voice hardens. "Call the police. And tomorrow, invite the neighbors for tea." The next day, the neighborhood's pillars sit in his living room. Mrs. Higgins, Judge Davies, Pastor Reynolds, confused but polite. Grandpa doesn't argue. He lays out 3 things. The deed, Airbnb reviews for the Heritage Wellness Retreat, and the hollow copy of Great Expectations. He opens the fake book. Silence drops. 2 years of illegal rentals. No rent-to-own agreement. A stolen collection sold for cash. Their faces change from curiosity to disgust. By the time tea ends, my parents' social standing is ash. The neighbors apologize to Grandpa. Mrs. Higgins posts a devastatingly polite clarification online. The listing gets flagged. My father tries the press. Grandpa meets the reporter with receipts. The headline writes itself. Thursday, the sheriff enforces the eviction. My parents and Bella haul boxes out, somehow smaller without the house, the lies, and my money. Grandpa snaps the retreat sign over his knee and shuts the door. The lock clicks like a final sentence. Later, my credit monitor pings. Asterisk application denied. Applicant, Eric Pierce. Reason, credit freeze active. Asterisk even now my father tried to open a credit card in my name. I don't feel rage. Just a cool, clean certainty. I was never a daughter to him. Only a resource. I swiped the alert away. Denied is a beautiful word. This isn't revenge. It's harvest. You can't plant entitlement and expect loyalty to grow. They stripped my field for years. Now they're living in what they sowed. Mediocrity, isolation, and the silence of someone who finally learned her worth. Peace isn't negotiated. It's built one boundary at a time.